Malik, you're up, man. What are you envisioning for your life right now, man?
So I wanted to say very when it comes down to being this rarity of being a African American male in the field of mental health. That was what I was trying to manifest. I think beforehand, and having that natural ability to help people, or always being that person that is gonna put a little bit extra time into a situation and working in career fields beforehand. That kind of helped me lead me to my current manifestation of my current career. And so I think now I just want to make sure that I'm continuously growing. Like, I want to have a forever growing, revolving type of mind. And I want to share this. I want to share this with other people, because I want other people to be able to have this forever growing mindset, where when you're presented with new issues, you're presented with new problems heard of before or not necessarily sure, you can look and you can take away from those things that you can still take away from those things that you weren't aware of. And so for me, that's what I'm wanting for my vision, is that I continue this mindset, I continue to grow and learn, and that the experiences that I'm growing and learning from, that people can take away from those as well, and that I can use that to help people get to this growth mindset. So, and whether that looks like me sitting behind, a desk and being a therapist, for me going into a corporation and working with someone, or that whatever that may look like, or going into a school, or doing these podcasts, whatever they may look like, I want to make sure that I'm continuing to do my work in different capacities that encourage growth.
Right. No, it's just so powerful, you guys. You don't realize what we just did. Richard kind of called me on it earlier. He was like, "Oh man, did you drink your half gallon of water?" Because last show I told him I'm going to do that. Like, I'm gonna do that. I verbally told him. Christian talked about positive self-talk, and we all just vocalized our vision for ourselves. And it's gonna be more predictable for us to achieve that vision just because we said it out loud. So that's another tool that we can use to become our own visionary. And I want to thank you guys for doing that. That was extremely powerful. There's another tip I want to throw out there and get your thoughts and insights on is, vision boards. You ever made a vision board with like pictures from a magazine, and you like this picture here, this guy looks pretty jacked, let me put that one there, and I have this family picture over here, and this nice Lamborghini, or whatever it may be at the time when you're making the vision boards. What is the impact of images or imagery? Christian talked about guided imagery in your mind, but actual imagery on your walls. Like, I got the degree behind me, I've got Darth Vader and Darth Maul and the Sith Lord up there, to remind me of just, there's always a dark side of people, but it has other meanings too. But what is the impact of imagery and becoming your own visionary, and how do you guys use that as well?
I would say vision, specifically talking about vision boards. I think vision boards are a very cool concept. I think they can be hard to stick to. I know a lot of times you start making it and it's like you want to make this big poster board. But what I think is important is to notice about this earlier, but just to bring it back up a bit, is the notice the emotions that you're having when you're cutting this Lamborghini and you're looking at that. Are you wanting that Lamborghini because Lamborghinis are a cool car, or do you want a Lamborghini because this is what you want, and when you see this car gets me excited, and I feel like I can be comfortable in it. So just when you're doing it, I think a good tip is to notice the emotions and what you're doing. And a lot of times, you might be doing vision boards around friends, and you may, people influence us whether we know it or not. Sometimes you're like, oh, she has it on her board, I want something like, what do I want? I have to look at that, and why do I want this when I'm cutting this out? Or, as simple as that, when I'm cutting this out, what am I feeling? And if it's something that I'm like, I actually really want this, I'm going to put this down. And then I can think about, this is going to take work. I'm going to think about the work. And if it's something that I really want, and that emotion that I have behind it is good, then I can be more willing to put that work behind it to get it.
I see. I know it definitely has an effect when you go over to people's house and you like see some inspiring stuff on the walls, you know, or you go to the gym and you see some inspiring quotes, you know, and you're like, man, like that's right, like I can do that, you know. I feel like that's the kind of effect that it has on someone who is trying to envision something in the future, you know. So like making your room as nice as it possibly can, and putting something that really inspires you up. Does anybody have any of that imagery on them, like, you know, Michael Jordan with the dunk, the famous dunk, you know? Or I'm sure there's things like that. What are some of those pictures or images that we have up on our walls?
I have a picture of Kobe right next to my bed. It's this corner right there. You can't see it
Mhm.
because of the sun, but it's a painting of Kobe right after he won in 2010, and I got that after he passed away because like that was someone I really like I wanted to be him when I was a kid, right? But
Mm,
as I got older, I realized it's not maybe a basketball player, not a sports player,
right.
but just his hustle, his work ethic, right? He was relentless, and that's what made him so great. And so that's
Mhm.
why I really look up to him for in that aspect. And so
Right.
every time I wake up, I'm like, oh, I don't want to like go to work today. I just look at that board. I'm like, okay, like this, I'm gonna make this money and I'm gonna do something smart with it. Like I gotta keep pushing.
Right. Right. What would
Yeah,
Kobe do? What would Kobe do? That should be the new.
exactly.
He's, like you said, he's relentless, and you can also acquire that from a man that you admire. Like that's a huge thing too. That I look up to men that I admire. Like Jordan Peterson is one of those guys, and what does he say in his new book? He says, "Imagine who you could become, and aim single-mindedly at that." So I'm always trying to think of that man. Like, what does that man look like? You know, like I'm trying to cultivate that guy inside my head, and I'm doing an okay job, but I haven't met him yet. But I look forward to telling you when I do meet him. I'll talk to you guys about it. But acquire what you admire from the imagery on your walls. You know, put something up inspiring. What else do we got? What other pictures do we have up on our walls, or things that make us feel empowered and with our vision?
Um, this may be a little abnormal, but sometimes posting your failures could be a inspiration. Kanye West, for example, he thrived off of posting his accidents when he got into a car accident and he had to wire his jaw shut. He made a song after it through the wire, and he posted pictures of him in the hospital, swollen, bloody and bruised. So just a little self-disclosure about me, when I was, 12, 13 years old, I always had a desire to play sports, but I had serious physical conditions. I had a disease where my legs grew extremely bow-legged. So as everyone was out playing at 12, 13 years old, I was having surgery after surgery, on my legs, and they had to surgically break both of my legs and put them straight. And so they put me in a cast for 7 months in seventh grade, and they did the other leg in eighth grade. And so people are playing Pop Warner football and not playing, and here I am, recovering from this. So I use those pictures, and they put titanium bolts in my legs,
Mm,
and they told me you'll never play sports, the whole line. And
mhm.
once I healed up, I decided to go out and try and play football for freshman year in football. Scared as can be, right? But I did it. And so I use those pictures from the x-rays of all those bolts in my legs as inspiration to tell me that even though the doctor told me that I can't play and I won't be playing, that I did it anyway. And I went, and I was able to play collegiately as well. And that's an inspiration for me. So right back here, you can't see it, but
Right, right.
right there on the mantle, I have the picture, and also me graduating, pictures of me graduating, and also playing, football. So you can use some of your failures, quote failures, as inspiration as well, and also using people. The vision boards. The reason why people have vision board parties, because it keeps you accountable, because other people are now aware of what your vision is.
I love
So
it.
people can call you out on it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
there's other people. It's a group. It's a group affair. So being inspired is really the ability to pull back from your past successes and bring them to the current. So if you had, in eighth grade, you were MVP in something, or if you were a mathlete and you got straight A's, and today you're struggling, you can pull back from those past successes and bring them to the current. How did I do that back then? And then bring that emotion, like Malik was saying,
Right,
take that emotion, how it made you feel back then,
right,
and bring it to the current, and that's how you manifest.
right. And be relentless like Kobe, like Diego said. So I love it. Richard, I know you had something to say, but really quickly, I want to talk to Shamar since you just jumped in here. Shamar, I have this little scenario that I've been meaning to ask you for this topic. And it's obviously about envisioning something. So pretend you're on the 18th hole and you got like a 10-foot putt to get in for the win. You know, before you get to the putt, you got to envision where the ball's going to go. You got to hit it just right. You got to make sure it turns and curves, and then it drops into the hole. What is the process like in your mind before you envision the shot going in?
With that's kind of when you're golfing, you have to you do when you're golfing, you always want to think of a vision on how you want your shot to go in. So that's what I always do. Like if I have to make this putt to win this tournament, then I always think of, okay, well, I have to put this in, but also you can't put too much stress on yourself to where if I don't make this putt, I'm gonna lose the whole thing. Everything's gonna go doom and gloom. Game at the end of the day. That's the way I always think of it. All it is, it's a game. It's not life or death. Nothing's on the line but yourself. So there is an aspect of you have to think of the vision of that shot, but it's a game at the end of the day.
Right.
So think of the vision of that shot. You make it. If you don't make it, you still had a good day that day. You still got to play the game. You want to be grateful that you were out there.
I love it. Love it. Maybe you came close just a little bit. You missed it by that much, but we're human beings. We're not going to hit everything with 100% accuracy. It's more like 60% accuracy, 50%, and that's okay. But, we can apply that scenario to our life. If we're for the golf ball on the 10-foot putt and we got to envision our life down the road before we actually get to where it is that we want to go or who we want to become, it really just comes down to faith, fear and faith. Fear drives the faith, and that's a sense of freedom when you're living in that free, faithful moment on envisioning who you want to become and who we want to be. I wish we had more time. I wish we did. This has been really great. I feel like we just got started, like always. Malik, Christian, Diego, Richard, Shamar, thanks for dropping in. Always a pleasure having you all. Thank you for your incredible insight and your influence on the Brother Be Well community. As we wrap up, I want to send you all well wishes and a couple of reminders on this chat. If you or anyone in your life is dealing with mental health crisis or suicidal thoughts, ideations, please do not hesitate to write this number down, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-8255. Again, that's 800-273-8255. There's also a number that you can text if you're in a mental health crisis or anyone else that you know dealing with a crisis. You can text this hotline at 741-741, immediate, around the clock, 24-hour service. Do not hesitate to call or text those numbers. We appreciate you, and we hope you're taking care of yourself and others. If you enjoyed this episode, which I know I did, and you want to visit more Brother Be Well content, please look us up on our website at brotherbewell.com. Again, that's brotherbewell.com. This has been a joy, and I really do wish we had more time. But as always, I'm your host, Justin Martinez, signing off. But before I do, I'm always reminding you, brother, be well. Take care. Thanks for coming.